Hello, thank you for stopping by. Okay, consumer review. Today I am looking at an Apple AirTag. Now these got announced a few weeks ago at Apple's spring event, and mine arrived yesterday courtesy of Amazon, and there it is. It's a little thing, although it's not quite as little as I was expecting it to be. It's about the size of a £2 coin, but it's quite a bit thicker. You didn't really get to see any of the profile pictures in all the press shots, and it's actually quite a bit thicker than I was expecting it to be. But about the size of a £2 coin in diameter, though. What these things are, they're a tracking device. You put them in your purses, your rucksacks, your wallets, things like that. And if you lose them, you can find them. That's the theory anyway. Now I've already got a couple of things very similar to this. One of the market leaders is a company called Tile. Works in a similar sort of way, except it's entirely Bluetooth. That means that while it's within range of your device, such as your mobile phone, you can find it pretty quickly. You just go into the app, you press a button, and it sends out a beep, and you'll find it pretty quickly. And it also shows you on a map. Again, why you need a map, because you can only do it within certain areas of a Bluetooth range anyway, which isn't that far. It's within your house, that's fine, but if you lose it on the bus or something, you're not going to get it back. I've got a few of these things actually. I've also got one in my wallet. It's a credit card shape size thing, which is that one there, and that's really quite useful. That is, but. It's great if you're running out the door and you've lost your wallet or lost your car keys. Where are they? You can just, in fact, you can even ask Alexa to find it for you, and she'll find it. But they work pretty well, but provided they're not too far away from wherever you are. These, however, they operate somewhat differently. Although they apparently have Bluetooth as well, they also have use the Find My functionality of Apple products. If you're familiar with the Apple environment, there's an app called Find My ... It used to be Find My Phone, and they've expanded it now. Means it will find any of your iPhones, iPads, AirPods, anything that's Apple related. You should be able to find it on there. And it also bounces the signal off of other people's phones and devices, which means it goes far beyond what Bluetooth can do. So if you lose it in the park, provided there's someone wandering around that's got an Apple device, although they might not know that your device is there, it'll ping it back, a bit like a submarine ping, to your own device to say it was last spotted there. So it goes a bit beyond what Bluetooth does and has the potential to be far, far better than Tile products. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test out the product and see how we get on with it. There's a few drawbacks I've already got with it. For example, this is all you get. There's not even a hook for a keyring or anything, whereas that sits on my car keys and house keys, not a problem, or sits in my wallet. This you've got to buy an extra item to put it into a keyring, to attach it to anything. It's alright, slip it into a purse or a rucksack maybe, but to put it onto your keys, you can't do it. You've got to buy a keyring for it. Now, if you buy Apple's keyring, you're probably talking about £30–40, which is more than the device itself. This is £29 as I purchased. Apple, while I absolutely love Apple stuff, they always take the mickey when it comes to accessories, and in this case the accessory is more than the actual device, so I don't think we're going that way. So I've ordered one off of the internet. Hopefully it'll come in the next few days, but what I intend to do with it, I'm not putting it into a rucksack, I'm not putting it onto my car keys. I'm actually putting it onto the dog, who is currently asleep on the hallway at the moment, because at the moment I use one of these. Now this is attractive. This is a GPS tracking device for the dog, which sits around the collar, and that's actually the small battery. If I, that's actually the big battery. There you go. Batteries on this only last for about a day. That battery lasts perhaps 4 days maybe. Now I wrote a review about Tractive. This is the previous generation. They've just released a new one within the last 4 or 5 months. But if you look for Tractive and you look for that particular colour of dog one, the top review on there is my review of this Tractive device on that dog out there. And while I'm not saying it's a terrible GPS tracker, it's probably the best, but that doesn't mean to say it's fantastic. It's just that it's the best one out there. What I'm hoping is that this can either replace or perhaps complement the Tractive device, because this does have a lot of failings. You get a lot of false positives. If you were to lose your dog, it's very, very difficult to actually pinpoint where the dog is. If you look on the map, it's just zigzagging all over the place. Whereas I know from experience using the Find My app device, you can find your phone pretty quickly. It usually narrows it down pretty quickly. So I'm hoping that this might be a way of doing it. I always did think about putting an Apple Watch onto my dog, because I thought, well, for the cost of £5 a month, whatever it is for cellular, with EE or whoever you're with, you've got a full tracking system. The battery lasts not too dissimilar to what the battery does on that, actually. So I'm hoping this will give us a very, very similar sort of test. Now, Apple themselves say you're not to put these onto children or onto pets. Actually, what they said was, if you want to do that, we don't condone it, but we're not going to stop you. But from a legal point of view, that's not what they're designed for. So they're covering the backsides there. But I wonder if this will work with a dog. So I'm going to get a little collar mount for her, which is on order at the moment. That should be here hopefully in the next couple of days, and then I'm going to test it out and see how accurate it is compared to the Tractive, and also as a general finding device as per the Tile device. So we'll see how we get on, and I shall report back in a few days hopefully. Catch you in a bit. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to ask my good lady wife if she'll redistribute the trackers around the garden and see if we can find them using the corresponding apps. So that's the Tile tracker, the new Apple AirTag, and the tracker that's currently attached to the dog. I'll take it off, or she'll be running around all over the place, but we should be able to track it pretty accurately, I'm hoping. So shall we see which one is better? Okay, results are in. I must confess I'm a little bit confused by the results, actually. I'll tell you what happened. We've trialled out the 3 trackers: the Tractive, the AirTag and the Tile. Controlled experiment, only in the garden. Our garden's probably about 100, maybe 110 foot long. The wife went out there, hid the devices around, and I just used the app to find them. The app gives you a direction, and it also gives you a sound. And we've had some varying results. Only really the Tractive gave me the results I was actually looking for. Using the app, I found it. From, like I say, about 100 feet away, I was able to use the app to track it down, and although when I got to within about probably about 30 foot, it kind of didn't get any clearer as to where it was. That's that point you can then press a button to create a sound, and you could hear the sound. The sound is very, very high pitched and quite quiet actually, and it was difficult to hear, but I could find it. I found it in the undergrowth. Ironically enough, the dog found it very, very quickly because it was of a high pitch that she was able to find. So that actually worked all right. I then tried the Tile, which initially didn't work because the battery has died. I don't know how long it's been dead, but anyway, I've just changed the battery in it. The battery is a CR1632, which is not such a common one. That's because this is a Tile Mate. That's the most common one. The Tile Pro does use a CR2032, which is a more common battery, and it's also the battery that the AirTag uses as well. So when I replaced the battery, initially it burst into life and it was plenty of sound, but when we redid the test and my wife hid the Tile, nothing happened. Literally absolutely nothing happened. The app just kept on saying couldn't find it. I walked around the garden pretty much aimlessly and then stumbled across it almost. It just appeared on the tracker and started playing a sound. It then almost was like it locked into it, and it kept it locked into it. Anything within about, it was probably about 50 foot range of the Tile tracker, it was able to find it. But like I said, first time out, it didn't find anything at all until I stood right on it. The sound is really, really good. It lets out a multi-pitch tone, and I could hear it even on quite a windy day. I could hear it from, like I said, about 50 feet away. So it was good when it was working. It didn't give me confidence that it works all the time. And that brings us to the AirTag. Now, when I first put the tracker on, like the Tile, absolutely nothing. It kept on saying, weak signal, please move around, and wasn't getting anything. I moved around the garden and still didn't find anything. It wasn't until my wife actually pointed out where it was hiding, and I was stood pretty much on top of it, that it suddenly burst into life. And then it comes up with a green display showing you're 3 foot away from it, and as you walk away, the arrow turns around and it points in the opposite direction, and you go further and further away from it. When it got to 30 foot, well, about 33 foot it was, it disappeared again. It's just, no, I'm not having this. So much outside of 30 foot, absolutely useless. When it got to within 30 foot and it had found itself, silly to say, yes, it was fine. The sound it emits, it's again a bit like the tile. It's a multi-tone thing, but it's not as loud. Hello, dog. I found the dog now. When it got to too far away, when it got to about more than 20 foot away, you were really struggling to hear it. Again, dog could hear it. I couldn't hear it quite so much. So I wasn't actually that impressed by it. Now, bearing in mind, I still haven't actually received my my keyring yet, so I've not been able to attach it to the dog and trial her out on it. But as a dog tracking device, I'm not entirely convinced that's going to be too much good. I think what I shall do when the keyring comes, I will put it on a collar alongside the Tractive. At least it gives me options, because like I said, the Tractive GPS, it has its issues. If you look on the map, it's zigzagging all over the place. People have said if a dog's run off and you look on the map, they've walked off in a different direction to where the dog actually is. So it's not ideal. So anything extra you can have to help you, which hopefully this will do. You're right there, Storm? Yes, good girl. Hopefully this will help out, but I've not actually been that impressed by it, and which pains me to say for an Apple product. I don't think I've ever said that an Apple product's not particularly good, but that's just not worked as much as I wanted it to do. Now, the main problem with it is that where I live, where we were conducting the experiment, there weren't any other Apple devices close by. It works very similar to the Tile device, that it works via Bluetooth, so when it's within 30-40 feet, yes, it'll work. Beyond that, it then relies on the Apple Find My service, which is great, provided there are other Apple devices around. So in a built-up area, yeah, you'll probably find it pretty quickly. But in a rural area, out in the countryside, in a park, something like that, unless someone walks past with a iPhone, iPad, whatever, it's not going to get found. And that's not particularly good. It's a similar cost to the Tile, so value-wise, it's going to be exactly the same. It only becomes better value when you've starting to get other iPhones and iPads picking up the signal. Hello there, dog. Here, all right? Yeah. Tell you what, you can have that back on, because you're not going to get lost with that. Hopefully, I'll stick that back on there. Yeah, good girl. And when I get a keyring that arrives, I shall stick that on there as well. But until then, I'm a little bit disappointed by it. A shame.